Welcome back, everyone. So today I'm going to be commenting through this video because I found it so intriguing. I was watching it last night. It was released less than 24 hours ago. And this is going to explain statistically and all the percentages on what the hell is going on with the job market and for undergrads and everyone who's studying STEM, right? STEM is just a very high level way of saying technology, science, engineering, a very broad term, of course, but STEM in general, it just means, advancements, technology, and all the advances that we've been going through. And young kids, even now in grade school, are learning about STEM, right? Just science in general, how technology works and all that great stuff. So let's go over right now and start this video because I have it sped up, but I'm going to make comments throughout the way. So let's go on.
Only 27% of new graduates in STEM fields in the U.S. secure a job in their field within 6 months of graduation.
The job prospects for recent graduates are down significantly from a year ago, so what is going on?
In February 2025, the unemployment rate for recent graduates increased significantly compared to the previous year.
The unemployment rate for recent grads reached 5.8% in March. That's up from 4.6% the same time a year ago.
With a 15% decline in job offers compared to the previous year, the employment outlook does not appear to be improving.
Labor conditions for recent college grads have deteriorated noticeably in just the past few months.
Well, I want to chime in here because they keep saying previous year, which would lead us to believe that it's 2024. But I feel like the pandemic had a whole world of changes that developed our need for technology because we were, going into full remote. Everyone's working like across the world and all these different states. And I feel like, they were hiring people because they were trying to redevelop the working style, and they were hiring everyone and anyone that they can get their hands on. And as soon as you applied for a job, like, you had the interview. So I'm not surprised there, but kind of, it leads all to these different things where, like, we're down 20% this year, but from previous years we were up like 100%, but they don't calculate the balance between that discrepancy of, like, you were 100% at one point and now you're down 50%, but you're not really losing. But in this case, it's like, they overhired, right? Because they anticipated that we were going to make these changes around the world. Everyone was prosperous. Everyone was making money. Then the pandemic comes to an end, and people were coming back to work, or they were forcing coming back to work, and people being laid off, and people were just like retiring early. So that whole market just started crashing, right? And then people started having this doubt of prosperity in the government because of whoever was elected. And all these different changes, right? So it has a lot of impact to do with businesses. And if businesses are not spending money, then this is what's going to happen, right? The economy is going to drive down a little bit more. Interest rates are high and they can't afford homes. And people are just like, what the hell's going on? So let's keep on going.
Factors such as federal budget cuts, uncertainty in tariff policy, and the exponential growth of artificial intelligence have made the tech job market particularly difficult. So why are tech graduates struggling to find jobs? As 2025 progresses, signs of a deteriorating job market for young professionals are becoming increasingly evident. According to data from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the unemployment rate among recent college graduates reached 5.8% in March of this year, up from 4.6% in the same month of 2024. This upward trend contrasts with the traditionally positive image of college graduates, who used to have unemployment rates below the national average. Currently, that gap has narrowed to historic lows, reflecting the
What are calls?
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
weakening of job opportunities for young people.
Many graduates will run into a bottleneck of entry-level openings as companies hold hiring levels steady.
Even more concerning is the phenomenon of underemployment. In March 2025, 41.2% of recent graduates were working in positions that did not require a college degree, an increase.
That is insane, guys. Imagine just like you go to college, you finish your 4 years, you're spending all this money and you're doing all this and you think you're like higher in the education system, and then you come out and you find a job that doesn't, like, it just degrades you, right? You don't even need the college degree to even move on forward. Like, you could, it's so, certain jobs is just so repetitive, no matter how advanced you think it is. Like, if you ask an attorney, if you ask an accountant, especially in technology, right? A lot of these positions, you ask an IT engineer, they don't even need college degree. a software engineer in the beginning was like, if you, as long as you knew how to develop and do everything that you needed to do with the tools that you were given, college wasn't going to teach you that. You had to learn that on your own. So
Increase from 40.6% the previous year. This figure reveals a significant mismatch between academic training and actual labor market demand, particularly in sectors like tech, where a closer correlation between education and employability would typically be expected. According to one analysis, both employers and job seekers are paralyzed by uncertainty. This paralysis has resulted in a visible contraction of opportunities. For example, internship offers, which traditionally increase in the spring, fell by 11 percentage points compared to the previous year.
62% of young people who completed their education are not in their intended career.
Experts point out that internships are a more reliable indicator than entry-level jobs, as the latter increasingly demand several years of prior experience, effectively excluding most new graduates. This labor market cooling is not limited to the tech sector. A study conducted between February and March found that major companies such as Chevron, PepsiCo, and Southwest Airlines have reduced their hiring plans for recent graduates. Only 24.6% of surveyed firms stated they intended to increase entry-level hiring in spring 2025, down from 27% in the previous fall. This is the lowest level recorded since fall 2020, during the height of the pandemic crisis.
I feel like there is a lot of things are contributing to why they're not hiring these entry level positions, especially for college graduates, is because a lot of it's being automated. Now, you can argue the point and say, well, it can't take over every human job. It's not, right? It hasn't yet, but it's moving towards that. I mean, let's just think about this logically. You've gone to the most recent McDonald's where they have these electronic kiosks. Their fight for that was because of the increased wages that they didn't want to pay an hourly wage of like $18, $20 for a person who's cooking, burgers, frozen burgers or frozen fries. Like, I understand everyone needs to make a living, but at the same time, as greedy as a big corporation is, they're still looking at the dollar cost of having someone that they're paying top dollars for. Now, there was a stereotype of, if you worked at a fast food joint, like, go get a better education. That's your fault, not my fault that you're working there and you're not getting paid enough, right? It was a stepping stone. These jobs, working like these lower entry jobs, was a stepping stone for you to get on your feet, not for you to live off of, okay? So, but of course that has all changed. But my point of all this is that, employment rates or internships are dropping because of technology evolving. And that's the impact that we're experiencing right now. This is a new revolution. I mean, to me, this is like, the World Wide Web coming out for the first time. It's like we're in the midst of all this, and this is why it's happening. So, we're seeing these trends, but unfortunately, it's going to impact these new college grads.
The salary outlook also shows mixed signals. According to published projections, salaries for computer science graduates are expected to fall by 3.6%, while salaries for degrees in agriculture and natural resources are projected to increase by 2.8%. However, these estimates were gathered before the start of the new administration and do not reflect the current impact of fiscal and tariff policies implemented in the first months of Donald Trump's second term.
The Department of Education restarts today collecting federal student loans in default after the long pandemic-era pause, leaving millions of Americans worried they could have their paychecks or benefits garnished.
The Trump administration has reinstated the collection of overdue federal loan payments through automatic paycheck deductions, tax refund seizures, and the garnishment of Social Security.
That is insane, guys. So now that Trump has recalled, student loans being paid back, kids or students that have been going to college, it's not the same as it used to be, where you went to college, you came out, you had a job, you had an option to actually get a job in your field of study. But what they're saying now is that it's so challenging for these individuals to get jobs. It could be half a year to a year out. They may not even get the job that they studied for. And on top of that, the other blow is that now they owe these colleges thousands, and if not, $20,000-$30,000 in debt that they have to pay back. Where they're getting it from, and if they do land this job, which is most likely because they're a college grad, it's going to be entry level and very low salary. That deduction for the high cost of the education is going to start being deducted. So what the hell are they actually living off of now, right? That you think about it, it's like it doesn't make any sense. It just you spend all this money and then you have to pay it right back, and you basically have no money for yourself to actually even live your life at this point, right? Talk about a real rat race.
And disability or retirement benefits. This policy, which reverses the pandemic-era suspension from 2020, represents an added burden for millions of young professionals. According to one report, 20.5% of federal student loan borrowers were more than 90 days delinquent on their payments, 10 percentage points higher than 5 years ago. This rise in delinquency reflects direct financial pressure on individuals trying to enter the workforce, especially in sectors like technology, where entry-level jobs have declined. Meanwhile, the overall economic context remains marked by volatility. Although 170
How do you protect your book from
jobs were created nationally in April, a better than expected figure, experts point to signs of deceleration.
Recent college graduates are now entering what is a competitive job market.
Wage growth has stalled, and unemployment metrics indicate that hiring processes are taking longer. Federal budget cuts have also had a significant impact on the tech job market. Since the start of Trump's second term, the federal civilian workforce has shrunk by 26,000 positions. In total, 260,000 federal employees have accepted early retirement, been laid.
So I want to make a point here about, federal funding getting cut, because remember, federal funding allows the federal government to outsource some of these to private organizations. And I know this, right? Because they go to different vendors, whether it's like these, audit firms, things, these large financial or these large companies that are private, that they outsource their talent to. So if those federal fundings are not there, then obviously the private organizations are not going to get, be able to make bids on contracts, right? Whether it's like consulting for technology, you have things like firewall guys, just outsourcing the SOC team or things like that. Like they outsource because these companies specializes in that, or they do the talent sourcing and then they bring them on board. Okay. So that's why federal funding for certain things is crucial for private sector, because they outsource those to those companies.
Laid off or taken severance packages. In 2023, a $2.7 billion funding shortfall was identified for key agencies such as the National Science Foundation and the National Institute of Standards and Technology. This lack of resources has constrained research and development opportunities, affecting the creation of tech jobs in the public sector. The ongoing trade war is also affecting consumer behavior. According to recent data, consumer confidence has dropped to its lowest level in 13 years. This decline has led many families to cut back on spending, directly impacting industries that rely on domestic consumption, including many tech companies offering retail products or services. In response, these companies have begun cutting costs and freezing hiring, thereby reducing the number of new jobs available in the tech labor market.
The economy is stable, but what we're seeing right now is a lot of hesitancy amongst these companies as they try and navigate new trade policy. So at least for now, employers are pausing when it comes to new hires.
The result.
You see that chain of events, right? The tariffs come into place, things get more expensive. Consumers such as you and I are reluctant to spend more money on technology or things that we don't really need, but we just kind of want it because it looks cool and it does this cool thing. And companies are experiencing the cutback because they're not generating as much revenue. So if we're not generating revenue, then why do I need to hire so many people? We still have a limit of how much we can spend, and versus what we need to push out there, right? I don't need 100 guys to push out one piece of paper, but if I needed to push out 10,000 pieces of paper, then yeah, I need the 100 guys. So that's a very small, high level analogy of all this. But if I don't, the supply and demand, if I don't need it, then I don't want it. And if I don't want it, it's going to affect everyone else under the chain that's looking for jobs, right? So yeah, that really sucks at this point right now.
The result is reduced investment in new talent, with billions of dollars in hiring budgets redirected toward areas considered more strategic or secure. It is estimated that by 2025, AI will replace approximately 85 million jobs worldwide, but will also create 97 million new roles, resulting in a net gain of 12 million jobs. However, many of these new roles require specialized AI skills.
Another point right there. Jobs, AI will eliminate X amount of jobs, but AI will create X amount of jobs. But I assure you, anyone who has graduated recently did not learn what these AI skills are. And because of that, they will have the lack of experience. Now, I can also say that anyone who's actually in it right now, learning, that has experience, maybe they're in on the whole AI development of it, and that's where the experience would be. But I assure you, colleges, boot camps, you probably have seen it already. These AI stuff that learn AI now, and by tomorrow you make six figures, just like this whole cybersecurity stuff that we have seen over and over again.
Posing a challenge for recent graduates who have not yet acquired them. In the tech sector, the automation of basic tasks has led to a decrease in hiring for entry-level positions. Moreover, the implementation of AI in recruitment processes has changed the way companies select candidates. By mid-2025, 65% of HR departments report using AI for candidate screening, onboarding, and retention forecasting.
Applying for jobs online, but not hearing back. Well, that may be due to companies' increasing use of artificial intelligence recruitment tools.
This has led to a focus on specific skills and practical experience, which can be a barrier for graduates who lack prior work experience. Companies seek candidates with hands-on experience, but offer fewer opportunities for recent graduates to gain that experience. It is estimated that by 2025, more than 120 million workers will require retraining due to labor market changes driven by AI. For young tech
It really sucks, doesn't it, right? So these AI automated stuff that's not even human beings looking at your resume anymore, doesn't even care what you're mentioning as your personal or your hobbies or things like that. It used to be, a relevance where you put things like that so it makes it seem like you're an actual human being. But unfortunately, machines are, configured, and I say machine, these are AI or software that's looking at your resume and your CV and saying, well, yeah, you don't have the experience, so next, you're out, right? No one even evaluated your resume thoroughly, right? Because it's not triggering anything that has, oh, you had, 3-4 years of experience, or you worked here, or you worked here. Yeah. So, if you're going to come back and say, well, just have to tweak it where the AI software algorithm, yeah, you can, but, I would say good luck, because how are you going to fake having experience working for somewhere? It's going to be really difficult.
Graduates, this combination of factors has created a climate of uncertainty that has even reshaped their career aspirations. A survey revealed that more than half of college students set to graduate in 2025 have given up on the idea of landing their dream job. Moreover, 56% of seniors reported feeling somewhat or very pessimistic about their entry into the job market. This outlook reflects the anxiety of thousands of young people who, despite investing thousands of dollars in their college education, now face a restrictive, unpredictable, and largely unwelcoming labor market.
That is some insane stuff, guys. I just wanted to share that with you, and please feel free to comment and let me know what your thoughts are. I mean, this is going to be really crazy times right now, especially with AI and colleges and kids coming out of colleges. I keep saying kids, but students or graduates coming out of college, they don't know what the hell is going on. And I don't blame them. I mean, I've been in this, right, for some time now. I don't even know what's going on. Now, when we say technology, that's just across the board of everything. When we say STEM, cybersecurity is part of that as well. IT in general and just technology in general, right? But again, right, some will get lucky and some will land these jobs, but you have to think of it at a higher percentage, right? A lot of them are not, right? It's very selective right now. And you heard, this is not a political debate thing. This is just proven statistics year after year, what the hell's going on with the job market and also with college graduates and people who are trying to break into these fields. I don't feel that colleges has provided, or any courses that you've taken has provided sufficient knowledge to gain these positions, right? Especially, it keeps on evolving, right? We're talking about AI in general. Let's just say we'll use that for example. Like we hear that it was developed, and now day by day it changes so much. I mean, how can you keep up with that during a curriculum that was created years back, right? During during whatever college. And then that's why these, boot camps try to lure you in, like, hey, you can learn the latest and greatest things today. And, we'll put you out there in the market, and there you go. You have the skill set. honestly feel like it really depends on what this boot camp is, but for the most part, that those are not going to be cheap either. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Give me your feedback and let me know what you thought about all this and how anyone can combat any of this. What's the solution? I don't even know what the solution is, and I just feel like, you know, I wanted to share that, and it gave me a tremendous amount of like thought process, like what the hell is going on with this right now with technology. And that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully this was entertaining as it was for me, and I'll see you guys again really soon. Take care.